Okay, Andre and I are starting the prep for our garlic planting, and we're counting this particular bag right now, but as you can see, even though it's been in the refrigerator for over a month now, we got roots, and we got a decent amount of roots on some of these. And so what we're doing now is each one of our rows are going to have 450 cloves in them. And so what we're doing is we're seeing how many cloves are going to be, or how much volume 450 cloves is going to be. Because what we're going to do is we're going to sanitize the cloves, and then we're going to do the fertilizer for the cloves, similar that we did to the corms earlier this year. And so I'll get into that in a minute when we start doing it, but I wanted to just show this real quick while Andrea was actually counting that, yeah, some of the garlic, even though it was in the refrigerator and obviously not in dirt or anything. And we haven't done any other than prepping these, and other than sticking them in the refrigerator, we haven't done anything to these. So it's not like we have done, we haven't put any fertilizer on these yet. We haven't done anything to these yet, and they're already starting to root out. So the good thing is we have not had a frost or freeze yet, and we're not going to have any in the foreseeable future. And even if we did, these will be underground, and it would be okay, because it might freeze for like a couple of hours on the surface or something. So the cloves will be okay. I also wanted to show in here, this right now, these are all of our onion cloves that we have. The onions are the ones that they look like an onion, even though it's a garlic, and it is actually, hold on. All right, these are onion cloves. Let me grab one that it's a garlic, and it has not yet started to bulb out. So my aunt calls them onion cloves. Oh, and you can see this one here also has roots on it too. So evidently, I don't know if this is a good or a bad thing, but considering that they want to have roots on them already, I'm going to call that a good thing. Actually, when I get done with this video segment, I'm going to take a picture of this and send it to my aunt and see what she thinks about it. Because she's been growing elephant garlic for, I don't know, 40 years or so. So she knows a lot, obviously a lot more than we do. But this is about 300 onion cloves right here. And then this was part of the large pile. And so Andre has this one here. And so it looked like that one had started bulbing out while I was in the refrigerator. That's pretty funny.
I think it was a bulb that got missed because I have 101.
So anyway, yeah, what we're trying to do is we're trying to get to 450, because that's what one row is going to be. And so what the process is, we're going to sterilize them in a solution, and then we're going to soak them in a solution, and then we're going to plant them. And so I'll get into that probably in the next segment, but I just wanted to show this first. Okay, we're in the middle of the soak of the first part of the cloves. Unfortunately, the cloves are taking up a lot more space than I thought they were. I thought we could fit all 450 in one bucket, but unfortunately, this one's soaking right now in the solution. And here's the other half over here in another bucket. So we're going to have 2 fertilizer buckets soaking. This is our sanitizing solution. It just looks like water. It does not smell like water. It's called Sanidate, and it is an EPA organic friendly sanitizing solution. And it's basically an alternative to like bleach, where bleach obviously is not good for the environment from like an agricultural standpoint. This is, since we are on well and septic here, we don't want to put bleach or anything like that in our septic system. So Andrea found this stuff. It's called Sanidate. And so what it does is it comes in and we soak it for 10 minutes. And what that does is anything bad that might be on the clothes, like mold or anything like that, will get killed out. The clothes are fine, but then it'll kill that out. But like I said, that's just a 10-minute soak. And then this is our fertilizer, which is called Bioactive, and it's a 2-part system. And so that's what Andrea just put in here. And so we're going to have,
and it's organically certified.
And Andrea said it's organically certified. And so what we're going to have to do is we're going to have 2 of these going. Now, normally we would soak the clothes for like 2 or 3 days, but since they're already, the roots are already sprouting, we are just going to soak them for 1 day, and then we're going to plant them tomorrow. And the reason why I want 450 is that 450 will do an entire row for us. The rows are about 75 feet long, and we're going to have 3 parts to the main row every 6 inches. So that's where the math comes to 450. Technically, it'll probably be a little more than that as far as spaces go, but that'll be fine. It just rained yesterday. It rained about 1 inch yesterday. So the ground is actually nice and moist, which will be good for forming the beds. I might form the beds later today, or I might form them tomorrow. So one last look. Here's the garlic before we have anything to it. Now in about a minute, we're going to take these out and we're going to put them over into this, and then we're going to put the other one into that, and then we're going to make another one of these. So it sounds complicated, but it's really not that complicated. So I'll check back once we start doing some of that. Okay, so the 10 minutes are up. So now I'm going to take this off. So we have holes at the bottom to drain all the liquid. And luckily I did a dry run of this earlier because I put the bucket up too high and then started pouring out the top. But that just had water in it, so that was okay. So the holes, I use 1/4 inch bit for the holes. Like you can see some right there. And the reason I went with 1/4 inch is the 1/4 inch is letting it drain out fairly quickly because it's already drained pretty much. I'm just getting the residual. But at the same time, if we want to put corms or small cloves or something, we can get it in here and it not. Okay, so I think that's good.
Yep.
And so then now we're just going to set it in. And so I'm just letting it slowly come in.
Whoop.
Okay. 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 So this is the fertilizer solution, and this will be for basically about 24 hours. And so now we can, let me rest my hand off real quick. Now we can put other thing of cloves in here. And I will watch better to make sure it doesn't spill from the top. One concern I had with this was I was concerned about it not having enough holes to transfer the water, but it looks like the water's being transferred pretty good. So as you can tell, it's already down. Okay, so I'm going to put that in like so. Put the lid over it because that stuff smells. Rinse my hand off and then start the 10-minute timer. Okay, so now we got 10 minutes to make this other solution, and then now this will be ready for tomorrow so we can start actually planting the cloves. Okay, here's the bed former. Obviously before I attach it to the tractor. But what I wanted to do is I wanted to make a couple of modifications to it. What I was doing previously is I was taking CMU block and kind of rednecking it onto this thing. And it would be kind of unstable. I would strap it in, but I still wouldn't like it. But from the last time we used the bed former till now, we ended up with a bunch of 16 by 16 patio pavers. The good thing about these is that this and a CMU block weigh just about the same. They weigh about 40 pounds a piece. So what I did was I put in a little frame here on the top, and I can fit a patio paver here and one here and go too high and still not, and have it be a lot lower profile. The weight will be distributed a lot better. And I'm thinking about taking, because I have a piece of wood left, about putting a piece of wood on the bottom here to keep them from bouncing back that way. And so I want to see how this works instead of using a bunch of CMU block. And then the other thing was I was talking with my aunt yesterday, and I sent her a picture of the garlic that had already started growing roots, and she's like, I've never had that happen before. They need to get in the ground. And then she goes, you really need to trench these, as in do a trench, put the garlic in, and then you just cover it up. And I was doing the math real quick. Our rows are 75 feet long. We have 3 spaces per row, which means we're going to have 3 garlic lines per row. And between the cloves and the corn, we have a total of 9 rows. And so I did the math real quick on that, and that's like over 1,500 linear feet of trench. And I'm like, I'm not doing that. And then I'm like, wait a second, we have a bed former. Why don't we put a little trench thing on the bed former? We tried this last year with a 4x4 in the center, and that worked out fairly well, because at the time we were going to put onions and garlic on either side, and in the trench it was recommended to put like fertilizer and stuff, and we ended up not needing that, so I took that out. But I'm like, why don't we just put this on here, and then now we have a little pre-made trench. And the bigger cloves of garlic, we just move the dirt a little bit so we can put them in, and then the smaller ones will be perfectly fine. What this is that these are just 1x2s. Now these are not pressure treated, because that's what I had is scrap. And if it looks like it's going to work out well and these start deteriorating too much, then I'll just replace them with pressure treated ones. But this is obviously the back part. The top here is the back part. So this is the part that's going to be coming out the back. And the wide part down here is what's going to be actually attached to the tiller. And so I've never shown the bed former like this before, and I wouldn't really be able to show it properly once it was attached, especially from underneath. So that's what I wanted to do now. And so now the next thing I got to do is I got to attach this thing onto the tiller.
And try it out.
And then we get to try it out. And then we get to plant 450 garlic today. And then we got to prep some, and then we get to plant 450 garlic tomorrow, so on and so forth. Right now, there is a tropical disturbance that's hitting Central America, and it's supposed to swing around and potentially, according to some of the models, might or might not affect us, so we might get a little rain later in the week. We're doing a 24-hour soak on the garlic, so if it looks like it's going to rain 24 hours out, then we won't soak any for that day, because especially with them being sprouted the way they are, with the roots growing, we don't want them to be in the liquid longer than 24 hours. So anyway, so right now, unless it's going to rain, we're going to be planting garlic every single day. And between the corms and the garlic cloves, that's 9 rows of about 450 each row. So yeah, that's going to be a lot of fun. And so let me show real quick. That's what I did last weekend. So I took the entire garden down, went through with the tiller and flattened it, and then went through and tilled it down so it's virtually flat right now. And then Andrea wanted to move the entire garden down away from the fence about 5 feet, so that's what I did. And we have enough room down there that we could do that. So anyway, now we're going to attach the tiller, and then when we come back on the video, it'll be actually me starting to actually do this so we can actually see if it works. Okay, here's the final version of the revised, I guess, 2.0 bed former. Actually, technically this might be 3.0, but regardless. I told Andrea I'm officially an old person now because I guess I hit the turn signal thing with my leg before I got out of the tractor, so that's pretty funny. So I have 4 of these pavers on here, so that should be about 150 pounds of additional weight. The 2 straps are keeping the bed former off the ground, so when I'm not forming the beds, that's not dragging on the ground, which is what I wanted. And you can see the 3 trench slots on the back. So what I'm going to do now is hand the phone off to Andrea, and we're going to try this sucker out.
Okay, he's lining up for a second pass. Seems to be better. Sort of.
Okay, so I don't know what comments Andrea made, but this is disappointing, but this is kind of what I was expecting, that the beds were not going to get formed high enough. I don't know if it's not displacing enough dirt in order to get it and not compacting it enough or what, but this is not surprising. but you know, at least we gave it a good college try. So I'm going to try to come in and do the rest of these and just see what happens, because I'm not going to sit here and fidget with this all day long. Now, if the whole thing could be like this, then I would be perfectly fine with that. But I guess let's go in, because sometimes when you come in like a row or so,
It does better.
it'll do better. Plus, this is going to be a corm row anyway, so if it's not 100% perfect, that's not the worst thing in the world. So let's do some more and see what happens. Okay, we got 6 rows done now. This is the original one that was done twice. This one and this one were both done once. As you can see, there's a little drunk tilling going on here. I blame Andrea for that. Andrea agrees. Ow.
Not.
So, I forgot where these 3 rows are. We initially were going to till and have that part of the garden this year, but it never materialized. And I don't know if you can hear it, but there's a small plane that keeps flying around. I don't know if it has anything to do, but some guy has emus
Lost 2?
that's a few miles away from here and lost them. So I don't know if that has anything to do with that or just something else, or some guy's just flying around. So anyway, I didn't know if you could hear the airplane or not, but we can. So that's what these 3 rows are. Now, we came back. This was my transition row here, and this one I had a lot of trouble with. And as you can see with the drunk tilling, it had a little problem. So I had to go over this one twice. Now, this is the first row that was actually in the garden that we had for this year. And after I went over it the second time, guess what appeared? All of the trenches. So then I did the same thing on this row here, and then this row here I just did one time. So I did not do this a second time. So I don't know if we actually have to do this a second time or not. What do you think?
We'll have to.
All right, Andre wants to be lazy and just do it again. So, but this is 6 of the rows. We still have another 3 to go. And so the game plan is the first 3 rows are going to be corms, and then we're going to go from the large garlic all the way down to the small garlic cloves, and then the last row is going to be the Keen's garlic that we ordered. Looking at all the crickets and stuff, it's too bad the sisters couldn't be out here, because they'd be having a good chicken time right now. But anyway, that's 6 of the rows, so it looks like we got the trench thing straightened out, maybe. So I'm gonna finish up, and then I'm gonna go in and take a break for a while. Okay, and that is it, all 9 rows. And so ended up being pretty good. The airplane is still out and about, and what we'll do is we'll come back in, we'll take the rake in between the rows to flatten them out, and we should have enough room to stick the yard cart in between the rows. I tried to space them out as far as I could for that very reason. And the good thing is with these is that the garlic will be far enough away from the edge, because right before I dismantled the rows from this year, they lost about, I would say about 2 inches on each side. And because it was 30 inches total, and they ended up being about 26 inches at the end of the season. So between forming the bed itself and between just standard erosion and stuff over the year, It ended up losing a total of about 2 inches off of each side. Like I said, these are the corm rows, so other than the drunk tilling,
We may decide to do them again.
yeah, we might do it again. I'm leaving all the contraption on right now because if I decide I want to come back and do something, I don't want to have to put all that stuff back on. But overall, I call that a success. And now I'm going to put this stuff in, and I'm going to go in and take a break. All right, it's been a day now, so I'm going to take this up. And so, Andre, you want to look to see all the foamy goodness that's in there?
Foamy.
So, is it supposed to do that?
I don't know.
This whole thing is your idea. What do you mean you don't know?
I got it from King's.
Needless to say, this is very garlicky in the smell.
Yep.
Andre got paranoid and got 2 additional buckets from Tractor Supply. So, now we won't be able to have it go drippy all over the place. Alright, so that's basically the first one.
Sure.
Now we got the second. Which will be more of the same. This water is draining out a lot better than I thought it was going to. Stop it. Okay, we got the row prepped here. We have the 2 drip tape lines. The good thing about these drip tape lines is the emitters are every 6 inches, and we need to put the garlic every 6 inches. So between the rows that we have going this way, with the little trenches that we did, and the drip tapes, we have a very good estimate on where to put all these. And so what we're doing is, there's one I have in the ground right there. And so if I go to the next one, I'll just come in, create a little hole like that. I'll put the clove in, and then I'll just cover it up. And so we're trying to keep the top about 1 inch below the surface. Yeah, Andre just showed a monster-sized onion. How that thing did not split, I have no idea. But that's what we're doing now. So we have both of these buckets, and it's about 450 cloves, which should take it all the way to the end of the row. Okay, first row is done. You can see the drip tape lines in there, and we have our 3 rows of garlic inside the main bed. And we just finished watering it. And so we already have the next crop soaking for tomorrow. We had a few extra, so that was right there. So we'll do that tomorrow. And the goal is, unless it rains, we're going to do 1 row every day. And then if we have time and if we have our backs willing, then we could also do a corm row also. But the cloves are higher priority because the cloves are rooting out right now, so that's higher priority. Now the drip tape is going to be, we're not hooking the drip tape up, so it's going to be dry all winter, so it should be fine because we're going to be putting straw on top of this. I just wanted to put the drip tape down before we put the straw down, because trying to put the drip tape down after the straw is down would be a monumental pain. So we'll just bite the bullet and do it like this. So all winter, it's probably just going to look like this with the straw on top of it. I might or might not come back and put in the white pipe. We'll just have to see. But the main thing was we wanted to get the garlic in the ground, which we have actually started doing.